Hi, Maggie in front of the camera and Kay's remotely behind as she is busy designing lots of fabulous things. So we're going to talk today about our fabulous new bookbinding cloth, which is a deep black. It's permanent black, and it has on the back, it has a paper base for applying your bookbinding glue and sticking to covers. It's exactly the same fabric as our archi-tape, but the backing is not self-adhesive, so do not try to peel this off because it's supposed to be there. So what can I tell you about it? First of all, it's really nice and deep and black. Feels absolutely lovely. You can create lovely effects with it. This one here is an embossed spine. The cloth has been embossed. This one here, we've created a book cover. So you've got butterflies on it, it's been coloured in. I'll show you a few little tricks. And then here's another one, just here, creating a different book cover as well. So you can use lots of mediums on it, you just need to make sure that they'll show up on the black of the cloth. So let's do a little bit to start with. So here is one piece of the cloth, and it's actually embossed. It's probably quite difficult for you to see at the moment, so I'll just take this little bit of gilding wax, and I always put it on with a brush because I'm quite heavy-handed, so you can just go on like that and you can see beautiful embossed effect, but you can see that's actually quite dark, and this is true on card as well. If you get your gilding wax too dark, take our adhesive remover rubber and just rub it over the cloth, and you can see it's removing the gilding wax, okay, which is brilliant. So if you're worried about being too heavy-handed, I'm using the rubber flat there, and let's try it on the card. Okay, the card, it's not lifting it off quite so much with the flat of it, but if you go in on the edge, you can see that it's starting to take it off. So never be worried about using gilding wax again if you think you might be a bit too heavy-handed, because this rubber is brilliant. There are some other adhesive remover rubbers on the market that are slightly yellower than this, and I have found that they don't work as well as this particular one, and I've been using different ones for over a few years. It does still work, but it doesn't seem to get quite the same effects as this one. And this is also perfect, so when you've been doing your album and you've finished it, you go through your pages and you can see little bits of glue shining up. Just go through and use this to remove any bits of glue that are showing, because it will remove them. Don't do it while your glue is wet. Allow your glue to set for at least 24 hours and you will find it will remove most glues. So back to our cloth. So what can we do with it? Okay, well, I've shown you it embossed on. You can heat emboss on it. I used a detailed embossing powder on here. I used a white detailed here, which obviously isn't dense enough and doesn't show up as much, so I think you're better with the finer detail metallic ones probably. And then you can also stamp directly onto it. You can use a fabric ink pad. I'm actually using Hero Arts Pigment Ink Unicorn. Just going to pop that on. It's on a foam mat. Just pop my stamp down, and there you've got a beautiful image. So then you can colour this with lots of different mediums. You can use a Posca pen, which is coming out quite nicely like that. You can use, let's see what we've got here. Oh, we've got a jelly roll, a metallic jelly roll. Oh, that's coming up nicely. What else can we use? Oh, some of the Pentel Sparkle pens. That's very effective. You can also add, you've put your Posca pen on there, you can also take your glitter pen, just go over the top to give it a little bit of glitter if you want. And then this one here has actually been coloured with Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, and then I put a little bit of glitter pen over the top. So loads and loads you can do with this. Really, really lovely effect. And I did all this before I made the cover, so I stamped all the fabric first and then made the cover up. So now we're going to go on to making our cover. So first of all, let's talk about our new tools. So this is our original corner cover tool that we had, made out of acrylic, and it has the etching marks, and it's etched so that when you have a corner of your cover, you don't want to cut the fabric right across directly close to the edge, because you'll end up with greyboard showing. So what we did was we did little etched lines, and you pushed it out so it was one or two widths of your greyboard. Then you had to draw a line, cut it, and then you had enough to do your little mitered corners. Then we tried with some printed plastic, which worked well, it fitted across there, but if you cut along there, you were cutting it with a craft knife, which just added time, and you lost the accuracy of your tool very quickly. So then we went on with this, which is made from 2mm stainless steel. It's laser cut, and that fits perfectly. And you run your craft knife down there, so when you've cut, you have the perfect little piece in there. So I'm going to show you how that works. We also had our first size of our hinge spacers, the 1/4 inch ones. We also had those made in stainless steel, just so you've got really strong sturdy tools that now should last you a lifetime. The other ones do, but it's just nice to have real sturdiness, and you've got them. So when you're covering with your cloth, we're going to use a glue brush and our bookbinding glue. It's really important that you prime your glue brush properly. Okay, you don't just want to dip it in and spread, you need to prime it so that when you spread out, let's show you on here, when you spread out the brush, you can see you're getting a really nice even coating. That's what you're aiming to do. Okay, and I also keep next to me, because bookbinding glue is quite sticky, I keep next to me just a damp cloth just to wipe my fingers in case I get any glue on there as I'm proceeding with the covering. So here's my piece of cloth. I've roughly cut to size, and I'm going to pop it over here, and I'm just going to zoom back out. That's better. Okay, let's clear some space. Got my tools. So this is the far end of my cloth. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this cover on here. So I need to cover all of this with glue. Yes, you can do it with glue by hand, and you can do it with double-sided tape, but the benefit of doing it with a brush is that you get complete even coverage, and the glue is very, very sticky. It's acid free, it's designed for bookbinding, so it's the perfect product. And then we just spread this on, going through, and you can see every time I use the brush I'm getting a really nice even application of glue. I'm not getting squiggles somewhere that's more likely to make cardstock or fabric look a bit wobbly or bubbly. And you can use this technique for card as well. So that's my first piece. And turn that over and just stick that down. I'm not measuring at all, just popping that on there. Just put it flat. Just give my fingers a little wipe. So the next thing I need to put in is my spine. So now I'm going to take my hinge spacers, and when you're making your spines you need to make sure you have a good hinge between the spine and the cover. If your hinges are too narrow, particularly if you're using cardstock, they will split over time. So this is a 1/4 inch one, so that's a 1/4 inch hinge spacer there, and one there, and you can see because there's a right angle that locks in perfectly to the corner there, and it fits in on there like that. So that I know that that's going to be straight across there, that's going to be the same depth all the way along there. And then I'm going to take my spine use my bookbinding glue again. Just paste it on, and as I say, the advantage, you can get right to the edges. Don't overuse the glue. It's just really, it's very therapeutic actually doing it this way. The only thing I would say is if you're using any glue with a brush, make sure you're not in a very hot environment, because the glue does tend to set quicker. So pop that one on there. That is locked into place, right? So I know when I take this one out, take that one out, I'll take that one out. That is exactly the same length all the way down, and that is straight all the way across. And then I'm going to repeat it again with the back cover. Put that there. That's our back cover. Kay would say this is like watching paint dry. Well, it's watching glue dry, Kay. And turn your work round if you find it hard to reach. Just turn it around so you can easily access the other bits. Okay. Then you're going to do the same again. You're going to lock it into place. There and there. That's fixed. And that's fixed on there, and I haven't had to spend ages burnishing, rubbing down, anything like that, because the glue has got such, you've got such a good purchase with the glue. It's covered every area. Just move that out of the way. So your next thing you need to do is you really want an even sort of depth of the cloth all the way around. So I tend to aim for about 1.25 inches. I wouldn't go any lower than 1 inch, because it's just a bit harder to manage. So this is a magnetic crafting rack I'm working on with a metal ruler, but you can use whatever. So I'm just going to cut straight across using a craft knife, going all the way along. Sorry, just had a little delivery from Clive there. So pop that in there, and we'll just run across. So that's the first piece off. And we'll do the same down here. Keep these little bits because it die cuts beautifully. I forgot to say that, but you can die cut. You can use our dies to cut it. You can cut some of our closures, our dumbbells, our brad flaps, all sorts of things. Just turning this round, cutting again. And here. That's the next bit. And the final bit is just here. So they are all cut off. So your next thing you're going to do is you're going to bend up your sides. But before you do that, you can see you've got a lot of excess fabric here that you need to get rid of. And that would be the same again if it was cardstock that you were using. So take your tool. I'm just going to pop it over the corner like that so you can see it locks in beautifully. You've got a gap between the edge of the Greyboard and the cloth there. You're going to lock it in place and just cut down. So when it's cut off, you've got a nice little piece there that's going to allow to cover your Greyboards. Pop this on here. We'll repeat it all the way around. And again here. And again here. So that's those pieces done there. And then your next stage is to take your multi-purpose tool and you're just going to lightly bend up, use this end, lightly bend up all the way round. We love our multi-purpose tool because it's Teflon, it's ergonomic, and it's really flexible. This one's quite cool at the moment, but as it warms up it becomes much more flexible. And because it's Teflon, it doesn't, when you burnish anything dark cardstock wise, it doesn't go shiny. We just finish this on here, go along here like that, and then we'll do that one. So now you've done that, you're going to take your glue again, and we're going to start with the longer sides first. So we're just going to prime our brush. And at this point I'd probably put a little bit of scrap paper or something behind so that I didn't get glue all over my working area. So I'm just going to put also protects your cloth as well, you don't get glue on the outside of it. But if you do get any glue on, just let it dry before you take it off. So that's the first bit. Out of the way. And then you can bend this up. Now you can either bend it up and fold it over. If you're worried about getting a really neat finish, do it that way and then tip it over like that. And then very lightly take your spatula tip this time, just run along the edge, and then just over here, and then you're going to do exactly the same for the other side. Up again. Over there. Okay, that's it. So now you're going to do your corner bit, so I'm going to come in a bit for that. Right, I'm just trying to get it so you can see it. Okay, so you can see a little tiny bit there. So the first thing we're going to do again is pop some glue just along here. If you've got a bit of a blob of glue like that, just take that out. Right, so you're going to sort of squash the end in like that. Do exactly the same this side. So just push down and squash in like that, and then you're going to go over and fold. And you've got a beautiful mitered corner there now. And I can see I've got a bit of glue on there, but I'll let that dry and that will come off later. So we're going to repeat again this side. I'm just going to glue my brush. I'll glue my cloth. Remember from before, you can either push it in with your nail or with your tool. Push it in and squash. You've got a nice sort of little neat triangle there. You do the same here. Push it in and squash, and then you're going to fold it over. And that's it. I'll just zoom out a bit so you can see. And now you've got your beautifully mitered corners, but make sure your glue is off your Teflon tool, you don't have any glue on there. Just see if I can get that bit off now. Let it dry otherwise. Yep, it's come off beautifully. I would recommend leaving it to dry more, but it does come off, just so you can see that. And that is your cover, all beautifully done. So any excess glue, give it time to dry, and then you can see it just comes off. Thanks.